Right, quick video vlog, so quick update here. I don't know if the sound's good. It's the quietest space on the ship, so here's the view. And for memory purposes, as I've only got my phone and 4 days, I'll try and make it brisk. So first thing, I arrived in Letia, is it? I keep saying Leticia, but I think it's Letia, that's how it's pronounced, but it's spelled Letia, which is in Colombia, which is at the junction where you go into Tabatinga to get the boat and then onwards to Manaus for the kind of slow boat ferry experience, whatever you want to call it. So the price on the blog was about 48 USD, and when I got there it was that exact same price. In Real it's 240, which converts exactly to 48 US dollars. When you arrive at the airport on the Colombian side, so in Letia, everyone says there's a tourist tax of 38,000, which is official. Like it's listed everywhere. The guy in the hotel that I stayed at, shout out to him, I'll put a link in the description, but yeah, he even said, so you didn't pay the tourist tax. And I arrived at 7 p.m. From Bogota on a LATAM flight, and just walked straight through baggage. There was no security or anything, so I don't understand quite where people are supposed to pay the tourist tax at the airport. But again, I assume people do pay it, and maybe I just got lucky and they weren't working that day or whatever. So skip that. Recommend walking to the centre. I mean, you can get a taxi for next to nothing, but actually the walk is quite nice, so long as it's not raining. The Colombian side is a lot nicer than the Brazilian side. Not that there's anything wrong with the Brazilian side of Tabatinga, Letia. It's all one city in essence because there's no border. You can just cross as you like. It's just a kind of artificial line. But yeah, it takes 25-30 minutes fast walk to get to the centre from the airport, and it's just straight all the way. The pavements are relatively decent. And then yeah, there's an absolute ton of hotels and guest houses for, I think maybe like $9-10 is what I paid, which for a really nice double room ensuite, just very, very clean, good Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff, in the centre of town. So you won't expect to pay more than that. And then stamping out on the Colombian side is really, really easy. So you have to remember to do that before you board the boat, which you will board on the Brazilian side, even though it's all kind of like one town. So you can do it at the airport when you arrive, though I think there could be a problem unless you're departing that same day, because they might ask on the Brazilian side when you stamp out, why is your Colombian stamp the day before or a couple of days before? So it really should be on the same day, and they do check on the Brazilian side. Colombian side, you can get it done at the airport or at the port. Now at the port, it's actually like an old military vessel, a very small ship, and everyone will say to you, look for the Blanco ship, right? It's not actually Blanco, it's grey. And on Google Maps, the building is situated on the street, but it's actually one of the boats floating in the water. And the guy at the hotel, I'm just getting this off of him, said it opened at 8 a.m. I was there at 8 a.m. and it looked as though the lady just started work. She was very bubbly. There was no one else on the boat. I was there. She stamped me out in 30 seconds. Now, because of that, I thought I had ample time to do lots of other things. For example, taking cash out. So luckily I had some dollars with me on the Colombian side, and I didn't want to withdraw cash on the Colombian side because at the moment in Colombia there's only one bank, especially for Revolut users, that's free in the whole country, and I think that's Social Banco or something like this. In the whole of Colombia, that's the only free bank. Whereas on the Brazilian side, you have two that are free. You have Banesco and you have the Bank of Brazil, and both of them are completely fee-free. Just be cautious on weekends. As a Revolut user, you will pay a fee, a weekend fee, which came into effect a couple of years ago. So I just withdrew 70 quid GBP, which is about 100 US, and paid 72 pence. Now, I was told, as has just been verified by a couple of other guests we've met on this boat, that their time on the Brazilian at federal police station to get your exit stamp, or your entrance stamp, to Brazil, was really efficient and easy. So I allocated 2 hours, got there was a queue outside the door, and there's also an internal waiting space as well. Now, there was a bit of a scam going on where people who had either giant families or who were paid to be professional kind of queue waiters, which you see a lot in South America in banks. People will pay someone if they've got, let's say, a bank appointment at 2 p.m. or they need to withdraw cash during lunchtime off from work, they pay someone to stand in the queue for them, then they get to the bank and then there's that exchange. Now, ordinarily that's fine if it's one person, but we had a situation here where I was at the front of the boat with 2 other tourists, and there was a lady like blocking the door. She wasn't working there at all, but she would just allow her family or other people that she apparently knew, which she probably didn't, to constantly jump the line. Oh yeah, take my space, take my space. It got to the point where there was only maybe 30-45 minutes left until our boat, by which time we had just got in the door, that it kind of, was quite sketchy. And it was a scenario where there's no logic to the Brazilian side whatsoever. So the federal police is acting as a general migration station, so people that need to get residency cards, extend visas, all this kind of stuff, family permits for whatever. So all these people are, rocking up with an absolute stack of paperwork, and all we need is a 2-second stamp, and yet it took us 2 hours. So bear that in mind, and we only got to the boat at 11:35, and unlike a lot of Latin America, the boat did set sail at 12:05, and they said 12 o'clock, it left at 12:05, so pretty much on point. So that was the biggest risk. I mean, the rest of the day was totally fine. I walked, so this is a Saturday, I walked at 6:30 a.m, went to the ATM, which was Banesco, got no fees, walked from there to the Port Authority, which is where you buy the ticket for the boat, very clean, very efficient, 240 real. And then from there I walked to the Colombian migration boat, opened at 8 a.m, got my stamp out, and then decided to go back to where I was staying, download some podcasts, videos, etc, with the intent of getting some supplies after the Brazilian entrance stamp. And then only to find, I had to wait 2 hours and almost missed the boat. So that's the most important thing to notice. It was quite obscene how that whole situation was handled by the Brazilians, albeit the guys seemed pretty nice behind the counter, but lack of efficiency beyond comprehension. Again, aside from that, you've got to bring your hammock. Included in the $48 ticket, which is 3 nights and 4 days, you get 2 meals a day, which is breakfast and dinner. Dinner's at 4:30 p.m. Don't know what time breakfast is, but there's no lunch. There is a little cafe where there's lots of snacks and stuff like that. And every time you stop, obviously people come on board the boat, like you get in buses and other transport methods in and around the world, and they sell their various things. Note though that the cafe is insanely overpriced, for where you are in the world. It's kind of European prices basically, and it's not really a cafe. You're looking at chocolate crisps, ice cream, beer. They make you a burger, which is alright. The burger was pretty decent, but just to let everyone know, I guess that's pretty much it. And I'll keep a few more updates going.